T. Martin to be in the middle of that pocket so the Georgia defense can hone in on him. So that time he just moved the quarterback a little bit, tried to run a little sprint out pass. Wasn't successful, but certainly effective in affecting the Georgia defense.
David Cutcliffe, longtime assistant at UT. He's been there 17 years. Then they spread the field with 4 wideouts. Bryson in behind Martin. And this will stop the action. They might have taken too much time to get the play off. Philip Fulmer could see that one coming.
Sean, what happens before the game is you take your quarterbacks out on the field.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And you show them where the 25-second clocks are. And you say, listen, when we're down in the scoring area, you get me off the hook. You keep peeking at the 25-second clock and use a timeout or take whatever you do. Don't take a penalty in this area of the field. And that's exactly the mistake T. Martin made there.
Sometimes backing up a little bit in deep gives the passing game a little bit more room with which to work. It's a quarterback draw. Martin in trouble, and he is dropped for a loss by Antonio Cochran.
Tennessee again tries to spread the field here. They want to thin out the Georgia defense and then give the ball to an outstanding runner, which is number 17, T. Martin, the quarterback. It just didn't work. The Georgia defense swarmed to it. Probably defensive play as much on the formation as anything.
Jeff Hall will try to give Tennessee the first points of the game. A 27-yard try out of Benson Scott's hold, and as is usually the case, Hall drills it right down the middle. 3-0 Vols, nearly midway through the first.
Every man has a mountain to climb.
What part of Russia is he from, anyway?
Krebs, what are you doing shooting?
Krebs, you're
Low crowd here at Sanford Stadium. The folks out along Sanford Avenue looking in at this 85,000-seat facility. The ticket manager here said in his 16 years here, he can't remember greater demand for tickets. A comment made by Freddie Jones earlier this week. Champ Bailey downs the kickoff from Hall. Hall's made 16 of his last 20 field goals now. The one moment ago from 27 yards gave Tennessee the lead. Tomorrow, doubleheader NFL action here on CBS Sports. It begins at 1. Among the featured games, early Kansas City and New England. And at 4:15, Denver and Seattle at the top of the list. Great action tomorrow here on CBS. And of course, it all begins every Sunday at noon Eastern time with the NFL Today presented by Southwest Airlines. A rare breather for Champ Bailey. And substitutes in the backfield and going nowhere is Ronnie Bradley. He ran in to Sean Ellis, the junior from Anderson, South Carolina, who is the reigning Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Week. You'll recall last week against Auburn, he took an interception and went 90 yards. Not exactly at record speed, but he did go the full 90 for his first career interception return for a touchdown.
He was lucky that no one from Auburn was chasing him after the first missed tackle because he hardly made it, but that's a long interception return for a defensive lineman to hold.
Ronnie Bradley remains in for Patrick Pass, who limped off during the last possession on offense. Georgia not on track yet offensively. Carter sprints out and throws incomplete. A little bit low. He was looking for Thad Parker. And let's check in with Tim Brando, get an update on how the Spartans made out today.
Sean, for the second consecutive overtime period, Michigan State did well, thank you, on its opening play from scrimmage. This time a 25-yard Cedric Irvin touchdown run. Spartans hold on to win it in 2 overtime periods and even their record at 3-3.
A big win for a team that certainly has had a very interesting year to this point. 3rd down now. Long yardage once again. 3rd and 15. Out of the shotgun. Carter throws, caught by the tight end Larry Brown, but he's a mile short of the first down. Wrapped up by Eric Westmoreland. 11th catch of the year for Brown, a senior from Decatur, Georgia.
Sean, I think you said it best. Right now, the Georgia offense is not in rhythm. for whatever reasons, I think you got to credit the Tennessee defense for part of that. Tennessee has a lot of tight coverage on those Georgia receivers. There's not as much air in the defense as there was a week ago when they played LSU. And Georgia is just out of sync just a little bit. As the game wears along, you'd expect that they'd get better rhythm out of their offensive team.
Win Kopp, that one looked to be off the side of his foot. It took a good bounce for Kopp and for the Dogs. Eric Parker backed away, and it rolls down to the 38-yard line. A 42-yard punt, much of it on the roll. Down to the sidelines once again. Here's Mike.
Hey, Sean, we've talked about Champ Bailey and what it allows him to do because of his flexibility and his great man-to-man coverage. Watch this. What happens is they're taking Champ Bailey all by himself on the weak side and trying to take Peerless Price out of the game. What does it allow them to do over here? They cheat the free safety strong side. They're playing a four-man game. Strong safety corner, linebacker, and free safety over the top, playing 4-on-3. And Terry Donahue, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made out there.
Well, that's exactly right, Mike. That's what you can do when you have a great man-to-man cover guy playing on one guy, taking him out of the ball game. You can cheat your safety.
All new backfield, flag down. This was Travis Henry, the other part of the tandem expected to full in at fullback, at tailback rather, in place of Jamal Lewis. He got the call running behind Will Bartholomew, the second string fullback. Orontis Grant made the tackle, and a holding call against Tennessee.
Holding, the initial indication against Tennessee.
And an example of the kind of coverage that Mike Mayock was talking about might have been that interception that Bailey had earlier, working one-on-one on that side with Price.
It absolutely was, Sean. That was just man-to-man coverage, putting your best athlete on their best athlete and saying, hey, let's line up and play and see what happens. That ball's overthrown a little bit, and Champ Bailey makes the play.
The penalty moves Tennessee back to the 27-yard line. Far the worst field position the Vols have had. They started at 19 in Georgia territory on their first possession, the 42 on the second. They resulted in the field goal. This time it's Orontis Grant and Brandon Miller combining to stop Travis Henry.
Well, Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, says that the big down linemen take up a lot of blockers. What he really wants to do is free up his linebackers. His three linebackers are 1, 2, and 4 on the team in tackles. But the down linemen, when they penetrate like that, they can really disrupt an I formation running team with a tailback as deep as Tennessee's is.
Second down. Long yardage. 22 to go for a first down. A screen to the fullback, Sean Bryson. A flag thrown near where the tackle was made. We'll check the flag in a moment. Once again, here's Tim.
Sean, that Sunshine State showdown. Chris Weinke will hook up with Peter Warrick. You know, Warrick has 6 touchdown catches on the season, all of them from Weinke. This gives Florida State the early advantage down in Miami. Florida State trying to stay in the national picture where the BCS is concerned, Sean.
Bobby Bowden told his team it really was a must-win situation with an eye toward the BCS. And an important game for these two teams.
During the run, we have an illegal block in the back on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Second down.
Well, they are seriously in reverse mode at the moment. Tennessee backed up to the 21-yard line. Looked like Peerless Price might have been the player downfield with the block in the back of Corey Robinson.
Number 37, Peerless Price, was clearly in the back. It's a good call by the official. Now, if you're Tennessee, you better be pretty careful with the ball. You've got a good defense. You're backed up, and your confidence in your throwing game is not exactly right on the money right now. So they're going to be somewhat conservative, I think.
Travis Stevens back in at tailback, and the pass is caught. Cedric Wilson with his second catch. And he's out to the 37-yard line. Kirby Smart and Jeff Harris combined to the tackle. Still well short of a first down. A gain of 16. They need to move out to the 48-yard line to pick up a first down.
Cedric Wilson's at the top of the screen. He's going to run just a little curl route. He's going to go inside and then break it inside. He just gets open in a void there. Does a good job of coming back to the ball toward T. Martin. T. Martin delivers the ball right on target this time. Outstanding pass.
4 wide receivers on 3rd and 11. Nearing 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Martin flushed from the pocket. Kirby Smart runs him down from behind, short of the first down. There's a flag down to the secondary. Kirby Smart, a very instinctive football player in the words of Joe Kynes. And Coach Kynes also told us yesterday he's a lot faster than people think he is. He runs a sub 4.5 40, and the pro scouts are looking at him.
Well, Tennessee is under the blitz here. Georgia brought some heat, but again, T. Martin finds a little void in the pass rush, and once you do that, you can scramble. And as you said, Sean, Kirby Smart with outstanding speed there makes a big play.
Holding on the offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
There's Joe Kynes, one of the most respected coordinators in football, and understandably so with his track record. Tends to coach with a bend but don't break philosophy. In this era of attack style defense all over football, they still play a little bit more conservatively than some.
No question. Mostly his own team, not as much man-to-man as a lot of teams. The thing that he does, he makes you work. When the game is over, you're exhausted from trying to pick up first downs and big plays.
Booming punt by David Leverton, his first of the day. Michael Greer, the return man, out to the 22. He took a late hit, and there's a flag. 43-yard punt, a 3-yard return, but they'll add to it with a late hit. It looked like Raynoch Thompson came in, not only late, but head first. And you can see Raynoch pointing at himself. He knows he messed up on that play.
Raynoch Thompson, I really don't think this is deliberate. It's going to be a late hit. It's just,
oh, boy.
It's a hard hit, and it's a big hit. But I'll tell you what, I think Raynoch Thompson really regretted that once he did that.
Well, maybe he did, but I don't see how you could look at that and say it wasn't intentional. That's helmet to helmet a mile after the play.
On the kicking team, that'll be 15 yards, first down.
I agree with him. He pointed himself after the play, indicating his fault. But this is what happens when you tackle somebody helmet to helmet. There is always the possibility of serious injury, and Greer is down on the field.
Yeah, I think the minute it happened, he regretted the incident. There's no question it's a flagrant violation with the helmet.
And the good news is Greer is now sitting up and has movement. He might be a little bit wobbly. And he's very popular here, a native of Athens. His dad, a great football player here at the University of Georgia. Steve Greer, an All-American defensive lineman back in the late 60s, and he's now on the Georgia football staff as their director of football operations. Great to see Michael Greer back on his feet, running off under his own steam. The penalty moves the ball back out to the 37-yard line. Best field position for Georgia. The Dogs have done very little on offense. Robert Arnaud belted down. Deion Grant with great safety play, coming up quickly to put the hit on Arnaud. A gain of 2. Let's check the Sun America virtual playbook.
One of the things that Georgia is going to attempt to do today with Champ Bailey is put him into a lot of different positions. Out of the shotgun formation, Georgia's going to spread the field. They'll have Champ Bailey at the X receiver, one-on-one inside against strong safeties or linebackers, and then they'll take the ball and try to get it to him deep down the field. This is one of the great athletes in the country, and they want to utilize him.
Deion Grant, who came up to make the tackle, is slow to get up after he collided with Arnaud.
Right here we've got the hit by Deion Grant. It's an excellent tackle by him. You can't really see. Sean, can you see what happens here?
No.
I really don't see anything that would make me think that Deion Grant, number 7, was hurt on that play.
He's a sophomore from Augusta, Georgia. Tennessee has 7 native Georgians dressed here today. Philip Fulmer's done well in recent years with his staff recruiting in this state. Jim Donnan believes that Georgia can go right back to being one of the powers, one of the top 10 programs in college football every year if they can just do the job of keeping the homegrown talent in state.
No question. I think that's Jim's #1 priority, is trying to control the players that are here, keep them at the university, don't let them go out of state. There's a lot of good football players from Georgia all over the Southeastern Conference.
Mickey Allen has come in to back up Grant at the safety spot. Allen wears number 29. 2nd down and 8. The Georgia offense, which was so impressive last weekend at LSU, has been unimpressive to this point. Carter pursued from the backside, and he is spun down back at the 31-yard line by Al Wilson.
Down by number 27, Al Wilson.
Well, the way to contain the sprint out quarterback is with the linebacker scraping. The middle linebacker, Al Wilson, number 27, runs about a 4.5 40. And watch him, he'll just hunt the quarterback down. As soon as he finds a lane, he'll run through it for the sack. Quincy Carter there probably needs to get rid of that ball. If the receiver isn't open, then throw it away, put it out of bounds. But again, you have a true freshman there playing quarterback.
Deion Grant kind of taking a shot in the hip or rib cage area there. Another 3rd and long, and looked like another false start on the Georgia offense.
Chris Terry, the right tackle, number 7, he jumped early.
Terry's a senior from Jacksonville, Florida. Made the transition from defensive end.
Dead ball foul, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
He moved over to offense last year, and there's some talk that he could be a 1st-round draft pick. They might have bookend tackles, each of whom could be 1st-round picks in the next NFL draft.
Well, Chris Terry is an outstanding player on the left side. Matt Stinchcomb, number 79, is also, like you say, a bookend. He's a 1st-round pick for sure, and they really have 2 talented offensive tackles.
Carter on 3rd down and forever, looking for forever, going deep, has a man! Tony Small down at the 14-yard line. Flag thrown way after the play as Chris Terry got in a slap fest with one of the Volunteers.
Quincy Carter throws this ball about 65 yards down the field, and really what happened, the Tennessee defensive back just kind of froze because he didn't think he could throw the ball that far. That ball came out of there like a howitzer.
And Mickey Allen, you saw, was the safety trying to get over there late. He just came in when Deion Grant was injured.
And John, there's going to be a 15-yard penalty on Chris Terry, who we were just talking about, number 7, for unsportsmanlike conduct. He took a swing at the Tennessee defensive lineman he was trying to block.
Dead ball foul, personal foul on the offense. That's 15 yards from the end of the play. It'll be a 1st down.
That was way after the play. It ended foolish on the part of Terry. It backs the play to the Tennessee 29-yard line. Let's check in with Mike Mayock.
Hey, Sean, as so often happens in those things, it was an exchange of head slaps between Sean Ellis and Chris Terry. The only one that was really sawn by the referee was the last one by Terry. It was at least 40 yards away from the ball where the ball was released. Just a dumb play by Chris Terry.
Was indeed. Instead of being in business at the 14, they're just inside the 30. Under 3 minutes left. Carter pump fake going deep, and it is broken up. Deion Grant didn't waste much time in getting back into the game. Jermaine Wiggins, their 2nd tight end, was open, but Carter didn't quite have enough on the ball.
Since Tennessee's an outstanding defensive team is because they have a great free safety in Deion Grant. That was an excellent play by Georgia. They faked a quick screen, then they went deep down the sideline, and Deion Grant came way over from the free safety position, almost made a fabulous interception, but at the least saved that touchdown.
He did have a fabulous interception in their win against Florida in Knoxville earlier this season. 2nd and 10. Sprint out of the gun in the face of a blitz. Carter lofts it up, looking for Champ Bailey. And the throw is out of bounds with Dwayne Goodrich in excellent coverage. They're coming after Quincy Carter, the freshman, who, when he started the season opener, was the first true freshman to start the season opening game of his collegiate career at Georgia since Johnny Roush back in 1945. Roush went on to start every game of his Georgia career, all 45 of them, and became the first quarterback in NCAA history to start in 4 bowl games. He finished his career atop the NCAA passing charts. Roush went on to coach the Oakland Raiders in a Super Bowl. Carter, the first since Johnny in 1945 to start the first game of his career as a true freshman at quarterback for the Dogs. And this game has not been that much fun for Quincy to this point. He went nowhere. Jeff Coleman and Corey Terry made the stop.
Georgia took a play out of the Tennessee playbook. They tried to spread the field. They have a running quarterback, although Quincy Carter is also a thrower, but they tried to spread the field and just run a quarterback draw, and Tennessee played it to perfection.
Carter stays in as the holder for Hap Hines. This will be a long field goal try. Hines from 48 yards out has it. Longest of the season for Hines, the junior from Marietta, Georgia.
Were you born without a soul?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil?
Picked a field goal. And Chad Holloman will handle the kickoff. Travis Stevens back deep. And the kickoff goes out of bounds. They've been alternating Hines and Holloman as the kickoff men. Holloman has a stronger leg, but he's prone to kicking it out of bounds. And that's what happened that time.
In this game, certainly, Sean, you'd think that Tennessee has an advantage in the kicking game. Georgia has not punted the ball well. They don't kick the ball off well, although that was really a wonderful kick they just made on the field goal. But all in all, Georgia does not have as strong a kicking game as Tennessee.
The ball comes out to the 35-yard line. Travis Henry opens this possession at tailback behind Sean Bryson. And Henry's ahead to the 38-yard line, a gain of 3. Richard Seymour made the stop. If you have not seen the new detective show Buddy Farrow, Friday's episode is the one not to miss, with special appearances by our own Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, and Marcus Allen. Well, we understand none of them is going to win an Emmy, but they had a lot of fun on Buddy Farrow, and you will too, Friday night at 9 right here on CBS.
What about you and I, Sean? When do we get to go on this show?
I don't know. Maybe Sammo Hung will invite us on his program.
Why not?
Philip Crosby now in at fullback in front of Travis Henry. Henry with a burst of speed. He's the stronger of the two tailbacks filling in for Lewis at 5'11", 212. David Cutcliffe, who, as we mentioned earlier, has been an assistant in Tennessee for 17 years, says Henry has the best lower body among running backs that they've had in his entire time at UT.
Well, I like the way Travis Henry just hit that last play. He hit it going downhill 100 miles an hour. He attacked it. If he'll keep that up, he'll start to affect the Georgia defense.
3rd down and 2. As the clock ticks down to 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Martin downfield, overthrown, looking for Cedric Wilson. Good drop by the linebacker. Will Witherspoon might have forced a high throw. He was sitting down the zone in the flat, and Martin had to throw it over his head. That made the throw too high for Wilson.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator of Georgia, is not going to make it easy on you. He's going to drop a lot of guys into coverage and make it hard to find lanes to hit passes in.
David Leverton punted away to Champ Bailey. As Greer took a late hit after he returned the last punt. We haven't seen him since. Bailey pushed out of bounds at the 24-yard line with 9 seconds left in the quarter. Eric Edmonds shoved him out, a 46-yard punt, a 13-yard return by Champ. He's from Folkston, Georgia. They call it the gateway to the Okefenokee Swamp. It's 6 miles from the Florida border. Town of about 2,200. 3 traffic lights. The great high school football down in that part of Georgia. Charlton County High School. Champ was a star there, as was his brother Ronald, who graduated last year. Went to camp with the Dallas Cowboy. And they have Boss Bailey, the 3rd member of the family, to play here as a backup linebacker in his true freshman season. Orlandis Gary, Patrick Pass still out of action with a sprained ankle. Gary out to the 29, a gain of 5 on the final play of the first quarter. The score, Tennessee 3 and Georgia 3. We'll return to Sanford Stadium after these messages and a word from your local station.
That time,
Georgia with the football in a 3-3 game.
2nd and 5.
Looking at 2nd down and 5. Dogs at their own 29-yard line. Quincy Carter, inside handoff. Ronnie Bradley lost the football late. The Tennessee players indicating it's their ball, but was he down before the ball came out? There's also a flag down on the play. None of the officials have indicated that it is Tennessee's ball. Looked like Bradley's forward progress had been stopped. Holding the call against Donovan's Dogs.
Just shy of the 29.
And here's Bradley. When does the ball come out? It's ripped out.
It's a strip. They missed the call. That ball is stripped loose. It looked like
holding on the offense. Has 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 2nd down.
Looked like Eric Westmoreland, the outside linebacker, stripped that ball out of there.
The only question might have been whether the forward progress had been stopped, but it did not appear to be. Bradley looked to be trying to lunge ahead for another yard just as Westmoreland pulled it out. A holding call moves Georgia back to its own 18-yard line.
Right now, you got to be impressed with the way the Tennessee defense is handling the Georgia offense. Other than the long pass that Quincy Carter hit, Tennessee's been absolutely in control of this offense to this point in time.
Carter with the back staying in and pass protection, throws too long, looking for Tony Small. Delighted to have you with us on an absolutely perfect football Saturday in Athens, Georgia. Sean McDonough along with Terry Donahue and Coach. Two of the best teams in the country, but a little bit of a sloppy start to this one.
Well, no question. Each team's had a turnover already, but I think that both of the teams will get their rhythm as the game evolves. I think when you're so fired up like these guys are, they both know the importance of this game in the national championship picture, and they're going to get their rhythm as the game just keeps going along. And I expect that both offenses will begin to move better than they are right now.
Another 3rd and long. Georgia's been facing that throughout this football game to this point. Movement across the line of scrimmage by Sean Ellis. Larry Brown short of a first down. There is a flag down. We'll check out the flag after this from Tim Brando.
Sean, you know Larry Brown's an impact player, but so too does Miami have an outstanding tight end, and Daniel Frank, 6'6", 245-pound sophomore, utilized here to tie the game at 7 in the Sunshine State.
Very quietly, Coach Scott Covington, the quarterback from Miami, has played effectively.
He really has. He ranks well in national efficiency.
Offsides on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And as you say, Sean, that's a good description. Very quietly. He hasn't had a lot of fanfare around him, but Miami's getting better. They're starting to recover from the sanctions that they suffered, and their team is probably a year or two away from being back to national prominence, but they're a better football team this year than they were a year ago.
The pass play to Brown got more than the 5-yard penalty, but they elected to take the penalty because the pass play brought them short of the first down. Would have created 4th down. The penalty gives them another chance. We talked about the sloppy nature of this game. The two teams have received a combined 9 penalties. Look out. Carter almost could not finish his drop, and now he is dropped at the 23-yard line. Sean Ellis knocked him down. Darwin Walker had the quick early pressure. And the Georgia offense continues to be very ineffective.
Well, coming into this game, the Tennessee defense had 15 sacks and 25 tackles for losses. And the reason they have those kind of numbers is they constantly bring pressure and heat on the quarterback. And when you're playing against a true freshman quarterback like Quincy Carter, if you're defensive coordinator John Chavis, you're saying, hey, guys, I'm bringing the heat on that guy. I'm going to see if he can play as a veteran.
Win Copp's punt, fielded by Eric Parker. He avoided one tackler, and he lunges ahead to the 48-yard line. Quentin Davis was quickly downfield for Georgia, but couldn't bring him down. A 34-yard punt by Kopp, a 5-yard return by Eric Parker. We asked the question, who is the best player in college football? Each week, CBS Sportsline breaks down the top players position by position, and you can cast your vote in the Player of the Week poll. Go to keyword CBS Sportsline on America Online.
It's going to be interesting to watch that race unfold. A lot of football ahead of us now. A lot of good weeks, a lot of big games.
T. Martin, 4 out of 8 for 28 yards passing and 1 interception. Tied at 3 early in the second quarter. Martin in trouble. Lost the ball. Brandon Miller knocked it out. And it looks like it will be Tennessee's ball. Back at the 31-yard line.
Well, Georgia came with just a 4-man rush. It was really a coverage sack. Georgia had excellent coverage in the secondary. The offensive line protects long enough. This ball needs to be released. Eventually, it's stripped. T. Martin has got to put that ball away. Look at the second effort by the Tennessee offensive lineman.
Wow, it looked like Dustin Lucky had that ball for Georgia, and then Spencer Riley ripped it away from him. There's Lucky, seemingly with the ball in his control, and then Riley jumped in and ripped it away from him. Big play by Spencer Riley, the center. Sean Bryson knocked down at the 36-yard line by Antonio Cochran and Josh Millard.
You know, you got to give Spencer Riley some credit here. When this ball is loose, he just goes after it and just rips it out, like you say, Sean. And generally, offensive linemen, you know, they're not used to seeing that thing like that.
Well, if you're Dustin Lucky and somebody 295 pounds comes crashing down on top of you, that might cause you to cough it up. Cochran made the tackle on the last play. Seems like this game has been filled with 3rd and 22s. That's the situation for the Vols at their own 36. Good fake by Martin. He throws an interception. Picked off by Tim Wansley, a true freshman from Buford, Georgia. His first career interception.
What happens to you, Sean? There's a penalty here. What happens to you when you get in long yardage situations? You feel the pressure to throw the ball. And T. Martin is just getting his feet wet as a quarterback. He's going to get better and better.
Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Georgia. 15 yards.
Excessive celebration, the call after the interception by Wansley.
John, I just want to finish this point. All quarterbacks, no matter how experienced they are, they throw into coverage. T. Martin just threw into coverage, plain and simple.
A lot of it. And Wansley picked it off. Second interception thrown by Martin. But a couple of big plays by Georgia today have been diminished by penalties that have followed. They had a long pass play that got them to the 14-yard line, but then they had a personal foul that moved it back near the 30. And this interception has been pushed back 15 yards by the celebration penalty.
Waterburn, Australia, a true story. A man was prospecting behind his trailer home when he discovered a 61-pound nugget of solid gold worth $1 million. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck, or you can depend on us, Sun America. We specialize in retirement investments. Ask about our personal retirement portfolios, and don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm just watching some home movies.
Oh, look at that little ball of dough. Is that you?
You got a very good eye. That is me. And look over there, that's you. Remember this? Sauce made from vine-ripened tomatoes, 100% real mozzarella.
That's beautiful pepperoni.
This just brings back a lot of memories. I'm flooded.
We grew up so fast.
You crying?
No, it's the onion.
Really? I can see you tearing up.
No.
Get 2 Little Caesars pizzas featuring our authentic 1959 recipe and 3 toppings for just $10.99.
Pizza.
On weekends, the game comes alive. And after days of constant training and careful preparation, these weekend warriors are now ready for what lies ahead. A 48-hour carnival of contact that will challenge the mind, body, and soul forever. Introducing AT&T 5-cent weekends. 5 cents a minute, anytime, anywhere. Let the calls begin.
It is CBS Sportsline's got you covered. For the breaking news, scores, and stats, fire up the best sports coverage on the net. CBS.Sportsline.com.
Coach David Cutcliffe told T. Martin earlier this week, this is the week the apprenticeship ends. They've taken it easy on T. Martin, leaned heavily on the running game the first 4 games of the season. Now they're going to need to throw it more without Jamal Lewis, and to this point, been mixed results for T. Martin, but the 2 interceptions jump out. Carter throws quickly to Tony Small in traffic, a short game. From the 35 out to the 39. Dwayne Goodrich made the tackle. One of the big stories of the early season, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Here's Tim.
Sean, it's all about unselfishness. I know Coach Donahue likes that. Madre Hill tore his ACL a couple of years ago. He returns, and there's a young back named Chris Chakuma in the way. They're sharing time now, thank you. Madre gets the first touchdown of the day against Memphis in a non-conference affair. Arkansas by a touchdown.
And as we come back to Athens, whistles before the next play, with Georgia looking at 2nd down and 5. Timeout called by Tennessee. CBS Sports coverage of NASDAQ college football will continue after this word from your local station.
The address is CBS.
Welcome home.
In life, you've got enough to worry about. But as automobile owners, you must make important choices for your family. Remember, no matter which road life leads you down, you'll always have a friend along for the ride. The Farm Bureau Insurance Companies, proven protection and fast, fair claim service. Protecting what matters most.
Time out. It's a chicken chucking shame. Football food ought to be as great as the game, don't you see? Let your colonel put some really good food on that tailgate. Kick her off like this.
Enjoy NCAA football with new extra crispy chicken from KFC. Double dipped and double breaded. It's the crunchiest KFC ever. Now get 12 pieces for just $10.99.
It's so good you'll be doing one of them excessive displays. Flag on the play. At KFC, we do chicken right. At a right good price, too.
Out here, you don't worry about running out of gas. You worry about running out of dirt.
Get your weather on the tube.
Monday on the Good Morning Show.
In the tremendous buildup leading up to this game this week, the major story was the alleged feud between the 2 head coaches dating back to last year's game, when Jim Donnan thought that Tennessee ran it up on him, scoring a late touchdown with Peyton Manning still in the game, on their way to a 38-13 win over the Dogs in Knoxville. 2nd down and 6. Carter with a backside blitz, throws on the run, caught. 1st down in the Tennessee territory. Tony Small on the receiving end at the 46, a gain of 16. Both coaches downplayed the alleged feud in the week leading up to this game, although you got the sense talking to them that there wasn't a lot of love on either side. Matter of fact, Philip Fulmer, when Mike Mayock tried to ask him about it, said he wasn't going to do any interview if that question was involved. But before the game this afternoon, everybody anxious to see if they'd visit on the field during the stretching, and they actually talked for quite a long time after a handshake.
Sean, you know, coaches go through that. You know, you get emotional. Football is such an emotional thing, and you get upset after a game, but you forget it fast.
Quick pitch to Robert Arnaud, and Arnaud goes down at the line of scrimmage, upended by Raynoch Thompson.
Ran a little option play out of the shotgun, which is kind of an unusual play for Georgia. They put it in just this week. It was not executed the way Jim Donnan had hoped it would be. He pitched way too quickly. Quincy Carter pitched on the end way too fast, and consequently Tennessee was able to swarm to the ball. But one thing about Donnan, he really makes you work. He formations you. He gets the ball to a lot of different players. He's not afraid. He doesn't play offense afraid. He plays very aggressive offense, and he makes you work. But you got to hand it to Tennessee right now. Their defense is doing an excellent job.
Champ Bailey at wide out, bottom of your screen on 2nd and 10. Flag down, 2 flags down, small down after the reception for the first down at the 35 of the play stand. Derek Edmonds made the stop, a gain of 11.
Sean, I think we're going to have defensive holding against Tennessee. They were trying to work over Champ Bailey. It looked to me like he was held on the play.
It must have been very obvious, the face mask, because 2 officials threw the flag in the exact same spot, right in front of the Georgia sideline.
5-yard face mask on the defense. 5 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Well, there's a face mask by the Georgia offensive lineman against the Tennessee defensive lineman. That should have been called as well. They missed that one and called the other one. So things even out generally in the game.
Smokey didn't like the call. 1st and 10. Small with 4 catches now for 89 yards. And you sense that Georgia might be starting to find a rhythm on offense. They'll play the rest of the game without Michael Greer, who suffered a back injury when he took that late hit while returning the punt. Carter scrambling. Needs to get rid of it. Did not. He's down at the 36-yard line. Knocked down by Al Wilson.
Quincy Carter was trying to get the ball down to Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey, number 4. He's the guy that has a little package of plays. He's just trying to work. Tennessee's got pretty good coverage, and he wants it deep. But Quincy just couldn't get rid of it. It was good pressure by the Tennessee front, and they sacked him.
Champ Bailey, well covered. Al Wilson of the sack, the 2nd for Tennessee. Interesting, we chatted with Al Wilson earlier in the week. Asked him about the shoulder that kept him out of last week's game. He said, "Are you healthy?" He said, "I'm healthy enough."
I know, wasn't that a great quote? I said to myself, boy, you want that guy playing middle linebacker for you.
Carter throws quickly. Caught by Thad Parker. Good move in traffic. He's pulled down well shy of a first down at the 28-yard line. Eric Westmoreland made the tackle. Al Wilson also said if he was grading himself for this season today, he'd give himself a C-.
Yeah, I think Al was way too hard on himself. He's playing certainly at a B+ level. Think about the Florida game where he caused 3 fumbles, and this guy's all over the field. He's got great speed. There's one thing about Al Wilson. He can run so fast that he can track you down, whether you're a quarterback or running back. And here he just closes in for the kill and knocks him down.
Al said he gave himself such a low grade because he isn't making enough plays. They made the play 1 play ago. Now 3rd down and 8. Blitz again. Carter throws, caught. Olandis Gary short of the first down at the 22-yard line.
Boy, Sean, you talk about an unbelievable play by Quincy Carter. He was under duress, and he's so big and strong. You're talking about a guy that's 6'3", 225 pounds, and I thought for sure he was going to get sacked here, and he just somehow found a guy. Look at the heat this guy's under, and he's strong enough to get rid of the ball. Boy, that's impressive, and it's a little touch pass underneath.
Pat Hines will try a 40-yarder. That one is no good. Wide right. He was playing the hook, and the ball would not turn to the left. So Hines is 1 for 2 on field goal tries today, and the Balls and Dogs are still tied at 3.
Well, look at you.
Me.
You are one delicious-looking pizza.
Thanks a lot.
And there's only one thing that would make you an even better pizza.
What's that?
If you were me.
Funny.
Get 2 Little Caesars pizzas with 3 toppings for just $10.99.
Pizza.
Need brakes? Come to Midas for a break on brakes. Now just $69.95 after rebate. You'll get our standard brake service and our lifetime guarantee. Midas is $69.95 brakes. It's worth stopping for.
You guys are in here again? I can't believe this!
You're always in here nursing your injuries. I have never seen such a group of cream puffs in my life. This is football. I need guys that can play.
Man, I thought he'd never leave. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Hot dog, anyone?
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one, and we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. And in the morning when I rise, you bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything's gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Tim Brando in New York. Coming up on the College Football Today Accent Equitable Halftime Report, Craig Lou and I will get you caught up on all of today's action, including the #1 Buckeyes rolling along against the Fighting Illini. Joe Germain had 3 touchdown passes. Now back to your game.
Thank you, Tim, here in Athens. 7 minutes left till halftime. 3-3 the score. Tennessee begins at its own 23-yard line. The pitch to Travis Stevens. Trying to turn the corner. Glenn Ford was giving Champ Bailey a breather at quarterback up to force the play with help from Kirby Smart. Here's Mike Mayock.
Sean, Al Wilson took a direct shot on that right shoulder that he had injured and dislocated 2 weeks ago. Now it's a direct shot. He did not further dislocate it. He's not wearing a harness. He's got a homemade tape contraption underneath that shoulder pad. So they think he's going to go back in. No further dislocation, but Sean, he's going to have to play in a lot of pain.
Travis Stevens. Still the tailback behind Sean Bryson. Good fake by Martin. Has running room, picks up a block, and goes out of bounds near a first down at the 32. Kirby Smart again chased him out.
Little bootleg by Tennessee again to take advantage of that fast pursuit by the Georgia defense. T. Martin came out clean as a whistle. Just came around the left side of the offensive line and couldn't find a receiver, but picked up an excellent gain with his legs, and that's what he's got to continue to do, and then mix in a few completions and try to move the ball.
3rd and 1 upcoming. Stevens and Bryce in the backfield. They didn't go to Henry, the power back. In this short yardage situation, they go to Stevens, and he finds a big hole and a first down. Quentin Davis made the tackle that might have saved a huge gain or even a touchdown, but it's a pickup of 11 and a first down for the Volunteers.
Chad Clifton, the left tackle for Tennessee, made a great block on the backside. You can watch him here. Watch that guy right there. He's the guy that opens a hole. He turns his man outside. All of a sudden, the back can cut back into that void. It's excellent offensive line play and good vision by the tailback.
Tennessee with 54 yards rushing now. Philip Crosby in at fullback, lined up in front of Stevens. Martin, his pass deflected, and it falls incomplete. Boss Bailey, the youngest of the 3 Bailey brothers who played at the University of Georgia, true freshman, batted it down. It's kind of frightening. The Champ told us yesterday that Boss is the best athlete in the family.
I know, when he said he runs 4.4 at 215 pounds, and he says, I hate to say it, but little brother's more athletic than I am. I about fainted on the practice field.
Champ runs a 4.340. Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator, says they can't measure his vertical leap because he jumps over the pole that they use. Martin on 2nd and 10. Hands it off straight ahead, and Adrian Hollingshed made the tackle on Travis Stevens.
Sean, the Tennessee coaches are going to see that cutback lane that they just saw a couple plays ago. It was there again, and because you have a young back, David Cutcliffe, he's going to see that from the press box, and he'll get the word down to those tailbacks. Hey, guys, there's a backside lane for you. Just don't hit it so quickly. Just be a little more patient, and you'll be able to get backside. David right there.
3rd down. A long 8 to go for a first down. 4 wide receivers. Stevens, the lone back. Martin with a four-man rush that was well picked up. Cedric Wilson, another catch. He broke a tackle. And he is collared at the 22-yard line of Georgia.
Well, T. Martin doesn't hit many passes a lot of times, but when he does, they're big ones. Cedric Wilson is going to run an inside route. The inside curl routes are open in the middle against the Georgia defense. And, of course, where has Cedric Wilson been up until this game? All of a sudden, he's emerged today as one of the potential stars for Tennessee. A huge reception.
In 2 catches all year. He has 3 today for 60 yards. That one covered 34 yards. Corey Robinson made the tackle. Now Stevens gets very little. Perhaps nothing. Stacked up by Orontis Grant and Brandon Miller in the middle of that Georgia defense.
Tennessee has liked the inside breaking routes against the Georgia defense thus far today. There's some air in that zone defense, and T. Martin is good at throwing that pass, too. He seems comfortable and confident with that particular throw.
Jim Donnan's in his 3rd season here at Georgia. That was offensive line coach Chris Selfo. That's the assistant head coach standing next to him. Travis Stevens, Sean Bryson in the eye. 31 yards rushing for Stevens. Martin showing his elusiveness, and then he is sacked by Cochran. A loss back to the 23-yard line. Another 3rd and long for Philip Fulmer.
Awesome. 2 yards on the play.
Only both offenses have been dogs here in the first half.
Well, they're struggling, but again, I think you got to credit the defense. You know, I'm one of those guys, if the offense isn't going well, it's because somebody on the other side of the ball is doing something to it.
And you're absolutely right.
And the Georgia defense and the Tennessee defense are playing well, and the offenses are out of sync right now, but they're working at it.
Martin under pressure, steps up, throws into traffic and incomplete, nearly intercepted by Bailey and Smart. Champ Bailey nearest to it. Kirby Smart was right there, and Martin is fortunate that that was not INT number 3.
He really is. He threw again into coverage. Champ Bailey locking on man-to-man on Peerless Price. 2 really outstanding big-time players working against each other. Price is looking. All of a sudden, he was looking for anything coming across, and Georgia had excellent coverage both ways on him.
Jeff Hall trying to put Tennessee back on top. He connected from 27 earlier. This is a 40-yard try. Right in the middle of the field. Hall's a candidate for the Lou Groza Award as the nation's best place kicker, and he's done nothing to disappoint his fans, and we've seen it. 6-3 Tennessee on the strength of 2 field goals by Jeff Hall coming up at halftime. The Axon Equitable Halftime Report. Tim, Craig, and Lou ready to bring you up to date with all of today's scores and highlights. Jeff Hall kicks off. Now with 302 career points after that field goal. The kickoff muffed by Arnaud. And what a big break for Tennessee as Arnaud muffed the kickoff, and it rolled out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
Robert Arnaud has a great chance to catch this ball. It drove him back a little bit. It just went really right between his arms. It's one of those things you work on kickoff return. You get your punt returners, everybody in the kicking game handling balls, and you get into a big game, and sometimes you just make a mistake.
We'll see how Jim Donnan decides to play it. He is not a conservative coach, and that is certainly an understatement. He generally plays it wide open, as he did earlier in the game when he was backed up inside his own 10-yard line.
I know that Jim certainly didn't expect to have 3 points at this point in the game. I believe that he thought he could move the ball on Tennessee's defense.
Here's Olandis Gary. Out to the 34-yard line. Chris Ramsour is in for Al Wilson at linebacker. made the stop on Gary, so they're quickly out of the hole created by the muffed kickoff. A pickup of 26 for Gary, the senior from Washington, D.C.
Well, Georgia went into 2 tight ends, and consequently the cutback lanes are what happens. The ball is handed deep to the tailback. He starts one side, but he sees with his vision the cutback lanes. And the hardest thing when you're playing defense is to make sure all those backside lanes are sealed. Every gap is taken. That time, Tennessee didn't have every gap accounted for.
Well, he transferred in 2 years ago from Marshall. He played for Jim Donnan at Marshall University and came with him when Donnan took the head coaching job here. Gary again. And Al Wilson is on the field for Tennessee and made the tackle. Gary and Jermaine Wiggins wanted to transfer along with Jim Donnan. Jim Donnan said they were very important, particularly in his first year when Gary and Wiggins had to sit out his red shirts. But those two convinced the rest of the players. Say, this guy's not a Division I AA coach. He's a big-time coach. He knows what he's doing. He cares about his players. You'll like playing for him if you just give him a chance.
Yeah, Jim told us yesterday it was very instrumental in him being accepted by the Georgia players because he didn't recruit the Georgia players. So they didn't know what to think about Jim Donnan.
Carter's throw low, looking for Champ Bailey. It's incomplete. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 8.
You know, Sean, going back to the Marshall plan that we were just talking about, when you have guys in the locker room, that affects your team, whether they be good guys or bad guys. It's so critical to have the right chemistry in the locker room. And when you have 2 guys like that who went and were with you when you played for national championships and things like that, they're in there preaching and talking about how positive everything is, and consequently they can just bring guys along with them. And that's what happened for Jim and Georgia.
3rd and 8 with 1:51 left in the half. Tennessee leading by 3. The Dogs from their own 36. Carter wrapped up and managed to throw it away. They're looking for a grounding call, and they get it. Darwin Walker took Carter down to the ground. And the flag was thrown by the referee, Steve Shaw, for intentional grounding.
Well, John Chavis, the defensive coordinator at Tennessee, has not been afraid to bring the heat. Raynoch Thompson comes from the top of the screen. There's an awful lot of pressure on Quincy Carter, but I really don't think this was a very good call, Sean. I saw a receiver over on the sideline. And I thought that, yeah, he's throwing the ball away, but there was a receiver in the area that he threw the ball. There's no question he's dumping the ball off. Darwin Walker with excellent pressure inside. There's John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, right there. John loves to bring the pressure. He's a pressure coach.
Win Kopp will punt. Tennessee should get it back. A good field position, a chance to put more on the board before halftime. Kopp has been the master of the bounce. Short punts that have taken favorable rolls for the true freshman today. A 39-yard punt, then it stopped rolling. Corey Robinson downed it for Georgia at the 34. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. And we want to know who was the Georgia coach the last time the Dogs beat Tennessee. We mentioned earlier in the telecast, Tennessee has won 7 straight in this rivalry. Georgia has never lost 8 in a row to any conference opponent.
Wow. There's a lot on the line for both teams. You're preaching that in the locker room before you take the field. Both coaches are talking about, let's make it 8 in a row. The other one's saying, hey, we don't want to be the first team to let that happen to us.
On the delay, it's Travis Stevens out to the 41-yard line. And he struggles close to a first down. He's supposed to be the smaller, shiftier back, but he's shown some power here today as well.
Boy, that was a good, tough run by Travis Stevens. He kept fighting for every yard he got. And you can be assured those tailbacks at Tennessee, they're sorry what happened to Jamal Lewis, but they're excited about their opportunity.
2 timeouts left for Tennessee. Bryson, the receiver, has the first down, and 2nd and short. Even out of the 46-yard line, pushed out by Champ Bailey. 58 seconds left in the half and 2 timeouts for Philip Fulmer. Tennessee in possession of a 6-3 lead.
Tennessee is in position here with a couple first downs to get that field goal team back on or to possibly get a touchdown. I think they're going to try to strike here and possibly knock Georgia out.
Martin fell down as he backed away from center. Back of the 41.
And what happens on that particular play, Spencer Riley, the center, or Cozy Coleman, the right guard, when they step back, they tend to catch the quarterback's foot, and that's what happened. He just got tripped coming away from the center.
Timeout, Tennessee.
Tennessee has found some voids in that pass defense today and hit some passes, and Georgia's generated some sack yardage, too.
2nd and 14. Just a 3-man rush that time. And that's typical Georgia football there. Bryson tackled quickly by Tim Wansley, but there is a flag thrown where the tackle was made. And perhaps for a face mask.
And Sean, that's typical Joe Kynes. You just mentioned, you know, he drops 8 guys there. He's saying, hey, I want them all back deep. I'm not going to give you anything easy.
Five-yard face mask on the defense. 5 yards from the end of the robot. Repeat, 2nd down.
Here's the scoring summary. First points of the game in the first quarter on a 27-yard field goal by Jeff Hall. Hines connected from 48, longest of the season for him, to tie it at 3. And then moments ago, Hall from 39 officially put Tennessee back on top. 2nd and 6. Martin throws, man open. First down into Georgia territory. Peerless Price tackled by Kirby Smart. A gain of 16, 24 seconds left, and 1 timeout remaining for Tennessee. Clock stops in college football to allow the movement of the chains. Now it runs, and Martin spikes it into the ground.
You know, Tennessee is probably 5 yards out of really secure field goal range here, and they have found some inside holes in that defense. I've said that 2 or 3 times, and it's evident. And those inside routes are affecting Georgia. Georgia's going to have to change the drops of the backers a little bit and tighten down that coverage a little bit, because T. Martin, he likes that pass. You can tell watching right from up here. When he's throwing that pass, he's comfortable with it.
On 2nd and 10, Martin throws, caught by Price. But that was inbounds and short of a first down, so they have to use the timeout.
Timeout, Tennessee.
13 seconds remaining in the first half in Athens.
On America's Night of Heroes, the guy who gets tomorrow's news is found out.
That kid snuck in here. He wasn't supposed to see it.
Hall on the sideline, but Terry, it's risky for Tennessee if they run another play without a timeout. Something bad happens and they can't stop the clock. They can't get Hall in to try a field goal, and they are in his range now.
No question. I think Tennessee will probably let Jeff Hall. The question is, do you want a few more yards? But if you don't get the ball out of bounds, you're not going to get the kickoff. It's just that simple.
Well, he's such a good kicker. The extra yards you wouldn't think would make that much of a difference. He has more than enough leg to make it from here.
I think they'll kick this ball.
And here comes Hall. The only thing that would make sense otherwise would be to throw it in the end zone, because why try to get more yards for a field goal when he can make it with ease from here. He's made 17 of his last 21, including 2 for 2 today. This is a 43-yard attempt. It would be his longest of the day from the right hash mark. And Terry, not only does he make just about all of them, but they are perfectly dead center. They remind me of your tee shots when we occasionally play golf.
But I'll tell you what, give Philip Fulmer and Coach David Cutcliffe credit for that drive. That was an impressive short time on the clock drive to get some points and some momentum going into that halftime.
3 field goals by Jeff Hall, a senior from Winchester, Tennessee. A team captain, now the 3rd all-time scorer in University of Tennessee history, behind only John Bexford and Fuad Revesz. We mentioned the national implications of this game. We've also talked about the SEC picture, and obviously the team that wins this game has the upper hand in the SEC East. It will be the only remaining undefeated team in the division. Florida would like to see some help from Georgia today, because the Gators will still have a shot at Jim Donnan's team, trying to avenge the loss that the Gators suffered against the Bulldogs in Jacksonville last year.
There's no question who Florida's rooting for. You're right, Sean. And, you know, if Tennessee wins this game, then having beaten Florida, having beaten Georgia, they have a pretty good path to that national championship game. And they're playing this game very well. And T. Martin had some important completions on that last series.
Hall bounces it down the field. And it's down by one of the up men. That was Earl Chambers, the backup strong safety, on his knees at the 28-yard line.
Sean, two things that have happened to Georgia's offense today that I've noticed. One is that the coverage that Tennessee has clamped on them, on their wide receivers, are playing a lot of tight man-to-man, and they can't quite get open. They don't have the air that they had a week ago against LSU. And the other thing is they have brought the heat on the quarterback, Quincy Carter, knowing he's a true freshman. They said, hey, baby, we're going to go after him regardless and see how he plays. And he's handled it well, but they've sacked him a lot and had a lot of long yardage situations for Georgia.
Carter's been pressured many times, sacked twice. He's 7 of 16 for 108 yards. And he's going to air it out. Look at that throw. It winds up being intercepted by Derek Edmonds. But Carter threw that ball about 60 yards in the air. That's the end of the first half. And the interception by Edmonds, his first of the season. He's a junior from Tampa here.
And riding our defense's back. I'm really proud of them. Got a couple of things going on, but mainly just the pressure. Our up front people know how to come with pressure.
Now, offensively, up 6. Do you pull in the horns a little bit?
No. We can't pull in the horns. They're too good. They've got too many weapons over there. We'll have to take care of the football a little bit better, but we'll have to play our normal game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And as Georgia heads back to the field, we'll head to a break and be back with a second half kickoff in a moment. Dogs will kick off to begin the second half. Chad Holloman will kick it away. Back deep, standing at his own 2-yard line, is Travis Stevens. Holloman, another one toward the sidelines, and another that goes out of bounds. He's done that twice today, and that's going to drive Jim Donnan crazy. And Coach Donahue, think to many this score is a surprise. Last week Georgia went to LSU. Those two teams went up and down the field. Today a much different game.
Well, no question. Both of the defenses have got a good beat on those offensive teams right now. Both offensive teams have turned the ball over. And I expect that Jim Donnan and Phil Fulmer will go in and halftime, make some adjustments, and try to get the ball moving better.
You heard Jim Donnan say that he needed to find a way to get his team going with the running game. Jim said coming into the game, they hadn't had much from the running backs in the running game all year. That's been the case again today. Travis Henry gets nothing. On 1st and 10 from the 35, Richard Seymour led the defensive surge. Now the core is light. Halftime statistics, just 12 first downs combined. They combined for 76 rushing yards, and each team turned it over twice.
And again, Sean, you know, you ask yourself as a coach, hey, are we playing that poorly on offense, or are the defenses just playing that well? I'm not sure we know the answer.
Loss of 1. T. Martin in the first half was 9 of 17 with 2 interceptions. He threw for 92 yards with a long completion of 34. He sets up a screen to the fullback Sean Bryson. And he's pulled out of bounds by Kirby Smart.
Pass complete to Bryson out of the backfield. There's a flag on the play.
Flag down in the backfield. Roughing the quarterback will be the call. T. Martin took a late hit. Neither quarterback posted big numbers in the first half.
Or if you're a Georgia fan, you're going to be upset.
Passer on the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
You're going to be upset with this particular play by Georgia. There's a late hit on T. Martin, clearly, and plus he uses a helmet. Whenever you do that, you can just be assured the flag's going to come out.
Antonio Cochran flagged on the play. That moves the balls into Georgia territory at the 46-yard line.
And Georgia had played 2 good plays on defense there and looked like they were going to force Tennessee into a clear throwing situation.
Travis Henry is the tailback, and as Martin backed out from underneath center to change the play, there was movement right over the ball from the Georgia defense. It was a Marlis Leroy who appeared to make contact.
Dead ball foul, contact by the defense, 5 yards, still first down.
They run in 3 nose guards to the Dogs. Leroy's the starter. He's the heaviest of the group. He helped form that wall that you were talking about that Joe Kynes mentioned. He can tie up a number of blockers. Then they bring in Millard, and he's quicker, and Brandon Miller's in between. On 1st and 5, there's Henry squirting through. Orontis Grant leg tackled him at the 33-yard line. That's another first down for the Volunteers.
Well, Sean, not only do they play 3 nose guards, they play 12 defensive linemen at Georgia. They want to make sure they're strong in the 4th quarter. So Joe Kynes says, hey, we're going to play 12 defensive linemen so we can get up there, stop the running game, be able to pressure the quarterback, particularly late in the game. And when you get a big man tired, he usually can't recover. So you got to make sure you don't get those big guys too tired, because you'll lose them for the ball game.
1st and 10 at the Georgia 33. Martin, all kinds of running room. Inside the 10. And down inside the 4-yard line. Kirby Smart and Larry Mann made the tackle after a gain of 30.
T. Martin once again goes back on a play-action type pass. He just sees a hole in the rush lane. It's going to come right over there. He sees it, he just grabs it and takes off with that great running ability of his. He puts the ball away. It's an excellent scramble. This guy has been able to make plays. He doesn't make them all the time, but he can make some big plays that hurt you.
1st and goal. Tennessee looking for the first touchdown by either team today. Henry stacked up by Kirby Smart and Orontis Grant. They'll mark him down to the 3-yard line. 2nd and goal from there. T. Martin continues to make big plays in the running game, as he has throughout the season. He thinks his lack of effectiveness in the passing game, Terry, has been that they haven't consistently thrown in ball games, except for the game against Houston when they got way ahead. They let him throw, and he was 14 of 19 in that one. Well, otherwise, it's tough to get in a rhythm.
And I think that's true to some degree. Philip Fulmer said, hey, we don't want you to lose the game. We can win it with other players.
Martin lofts it toward the back of the end zone. Incomplete, overthrown. Looking for Sean Bryson. Champ Bailey had the coverage. That's why I thought it was a very good question that Mike Mayock asked Philip Fulmer there at halftime when he said, will you, with the lead, bring it in a little bit and play more conservatively? Philip Fulmer said, no, we won't. But last week he admitted that's clearly what they did do against Auburn. They got the lead, and they didn't want to put T. Martin in a situation where he'd make the mistake that got the Tigers back in.
And I think the philosophy has changed, Sean, because of Jamal Lewis. When you don't have one of the best backs in the country on your sideline and in your huddle anymore, that affects your thinking. So you adjust, and it's good that the Tennessee coaches are as flexible as they are. They adjust with who they have to play with.
And also the fact that Georgia's a more explosive team than Auburn, they're more likely to score. To the end zone. Touchdown, Cedric Wilson.
Well, it's not very often you see Champ Bailey get beat, as good a defensive back as he is. But number 14, Cedric Wilson, goes in motion, and he's going to push up the field and then just snap it off. And T. Martin throws a beautiful ball. Only one guy is going to catch that ball, either Cedric Wilson or no one. Philip Fulmer knows that's a huge touchdown throw by T. Martin.
And they're going to go for 2. For the first time this year, they'll attempt a 2-point conversion with 4 wide receivers in the game. And they run the option. Martin down short of the goal line. They did not get the 2. He hit down about the 1 and bounced to the goal line. Adrian Hollingshed made the tackle. So it's 15-3 with 12.5 left in the third.
At last, A mini SUV with enough power to take you anywhere you want to go. And enough space and comfort to make the journey enjoyable. Introducing the all-new V6 Grand Vitara from Suzuki.
Excuse me. Is that really a Suzuki? It's very nice.
Presenting my lovely wife, Linda.
At Transamerica, we have insurance products and investments for all kinds of families, no matter how much risk you're willing to take. The people in the pyramid, working for you.
Nights, don't miss Martial Law tonight on CBS. First touchdown of the game scored by Cedric Wilson on the pass from T. Martin. Tim Wansley has to down the kickoff from Hall. What a weapon Jeff Hall is with his field goals and with his kickoffs. Here's Mike Mayock.
Hey, Sean, in that last series for Tennessee, Jim Donnan walked all the way over to me and said, boy, Mike, I just can't believe how tight we're playing. And then he kind of paused and he said, but this is where young kids grow up. You know, and down 15-3, we're in crunch time in the SEC, and I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how this young team reacts the rest of the way.
You know, sometimes, Mike, you can want to beat a team too badly. You know what I mean, Sean? You haven't beaten this team in 7 years. You want it so badly, you do play tight.
And right now, Tennessee and the Florida Gators are the teams to beat in this conference. They beat Florida last year, talking about Georgia. So this is the other hurdle to climb to really take your place among the elite in the Southeastern Conference. Olandis Gary on the run, and Al Wilson made the stop for loss. This is the Georgia record in the 90s against ranked teams, 6-23-1. They've only had one win at home against a ranked team in the 90s, and that was against Clemson in October of 1991.
Again, I'm not so sure that Georgia's playing tight. That Tennessee defensive front is controlling the game. They are whipping Georgia's offensive line up front.
Carter with time this time has a receiver. It's the tight end Jermaine Wiggins out across the 30 for a first down. They'll give him progress to the 31. Wiggins is a senior from East Boston, Massachusetts. The other transfer from Marshall, about whom we were speaking earlier. Jermaine has about 19 relatives and family members, friends from East Boston down here today. They've saved up, and this is the game they chose to come to. It was a long way from home. Most of the players on the Georgia team are Georgia natives. Wiggins caught 63 passes in 2 years at Marshall before coming over here to back up Larry Brown. Play action fake on first. Carter going deep, throws it too far, and it is intercepted. What a catch by Dwayne Goodrich. And he's tackled at the 41-yard line by Ronnie Bradley. The pass was intended for Thad Parker, but it looked like he stopped, and the ball was way overthrown, and Goodrich seemed to catch up to the ball as it hung in midair.
Well, there's no question Thad Parker, the receiver, did stop, and Dwayne Goodrich did not. He just kept competing for the ball. Dwayne Goodrich, a very talented cover man. You see the safety helping him out right there, number 33. He's right in the picture as well. Derek Edmonds, and sure enough, they bracket him, and he comes down with the great interception. Goodrich.
7th of his career. First this season for the junior from Oaklawn, Illinois. Tennessee with a chance to take command here in the third quarter. Travis Stephen hounds it up the middle for 2 to the 43-yard line. Rich Robich, backup linebacker, in the tackle. Tennessee best in the conference in turnover margin.
Boy, that was great coverage, huh? I go back to that play. You know, that safety bracketed that wide receiver, gave his cornerback help. It was tremendous defensive back play.
Georgia's had a problem with turnovers this season, now -4 for the year. And their biggest problem prior today had been fumbles. Up the middle, Stevens again. Hollingshed made the tackle. Stevens down at the 48-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down and about 3 to go for the Volunteers with 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd.
You know, you watch Tennessee play, and they're just a very solid team from stem to stern. I mean, you look at their kicking, you look at their offense, their defense. They've got speed on the field, athletes who make plays. They're a hard team to beat.
3rd down, a short 4. Good fake by Martin, and his pass is caught by Jermaine Copeland. 1st down, Volunteers at the 33-yard line. That's a 20-yard gain. Larry Mann made the tackle. I've been impressed with T. Martin's ball-faking ability today.
Yeah, it's certainly on that particular play. He made it look like a draw, and he held the Georgia defense. The inside, again, it's an inside route. Right inside, there's air in that defense, and so consequently Tennessee is taking advantage of it. Jermaine Copeland in this particular case before Cedric Wilson. That's where he worked him.
First catch of the day for Copeland, the senior from Harriman, Tennessee. Back to the run, and Stevens running effectively, and the ball pulled out, but Stevens got it back. Jeff Harris made the tackle and ripped the ball out, but it fell right back into the lap of Travis Stevens. 13 yards on the rush for Stevens. He's up to 60 yards rushing on 12 carries.
Now the Tennessee offensive line surged off the ball. It's a little off tackle play, and Travis Stevens really hit the seam there and hit the crack. Those tailbacks, they like to get that ball deep, get behind that big pulling guard, and the fullback kicking out, and then scream for blood, and he hammers it.
From the 20-yard line of Georgia, Stevens trying to bounce it outside. Champ Bailey and Kirby Smart on the stop, but Stevens is running effectively. Down to the 12-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Travis Stevens, the last 2 runs, Sean, has really gone downhill at the Georgia defense. He's taken the fight to them. He's attacking the line of scrimmage. The linemen are coming off, dominating the line of scrimmage, moving that defense out. Jim Donnan knows he's got a problem right now. Tennessee's starting to take over the game.
2nd down and 2. Stevens down to the 5 with a 1st down. Arantes Grant and Kirby Smart made the stop. Philip Fulmer said the other night when we chatted with him that Stevens and Henry were both get an opportunity, but if one of them got hot, then they'd stay with the hot hand, and Stevens is a hot hand at the moment.
Right now, he's got the speed. He's the back with the breakaway speed. Travis Henry's a little more of a power back, but Travis Stevens is the breakaway guy. And you want big plays in your offense. Tennessee needs big plays.
They're moving toward the end zone in which most of their fans are sitting. Travis Henry in at tailback now on 1st and goal from just outside the 5. And they give it to the other Travis, and Henry gets stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Richard Seymour and Dustin Lucky combined on the stop on Henry, who was Mr. Florida football in Frostproof, Florida, when he was a senior in high school. He set the national single-season rushing record. Travis Henry rushed for 4,087 yards and 42 touchdowns in 14 games in his senior year in high school. In one game, he rushed for 436 yards. And in all 14 games, he had 200 yards or more.
And on defense, Sean, he went over and played nose guard. How about that for a fast nose guard?
2nd and goal. Sean Bryson, the lone back, with 4 wide receivers in the game. The option. Martin ducks underneath to the 3-yard line. Hollingshed made the stop for Georgia. Adrian's a sophomore from Fort Valley, Georgia. Kind of similar to the 2-point play that they ran moments ago.
You know, the Tennessee offensive line has done a very nice job today. Josh Tucker getting his first start of the year, number 77, the offensive tackle. Cozy Coleman, they took him from tackle, moved him over to guard. They've made some adjustments in there to try to get better matchups against the Georgia defense. And clearly in the second half here, those adjustments are starting to take effect.
Jarvis Reed, a big loss. The starting right tackle at the beginning of the year, out for the season with a fractured foot. Suffered in the game against Houston. On 3rd and goal, they fake the inside handoff. They throw to Peerless Price, and he has a touchdown.
Tennessee just throws a quick screen out to the left. It's an easy play to execute. They're in the shotgun, so T. Martin's got plenty of room. He gets it out to Peerless Price, one of the top athletes in the Southeastern Conference. He goes man on man and beats the defender, puts the ball in the end zone.
Jeff Hall for the extra point. And the Tennessee lead is now 22-3. Peerless Price has now scored a touchdown in every game this season, with the exception of last week's ball game at Auburn.
Oh, Peter Lynch.
College football on CBS is sponsored by Suzuki, Fidelity Investments, Little Caesars, and by Enterprise.
2 touchdowns by Tennessee here in the 3rd quarter. The last scored by Peerless Price, the senior from Dayton, Ohio. T. Martin threw the ball to Price, and the lead is 22-3. Jeff Hall kicks off again. This one is returnable. Tim Wansley, the true freshman from Buford, Georgia, upended at the 12-yard line. Great coverage by Willie Miles, the freshman from Fort Worth, Texas.
Sean, Tennessee's done a great job kicking the ball away from Champ Bailey. They've not given Champ Bailey a chance to return any of these kickoffs, and as a result, Georgia has not enjoyed good field position the whole afternoon. Excellent special teams work by the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, Georgia begins at its own 13-yard line. A lot of work to do now. Under 6 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. And Georgia trails by 19. They run an option pitch to Gary. And he is buried after a quality game. He's close to a first down at the 23. Al Wilson and Raynoch Thompson hit him hard along the sideline. Now back to the Aflac trivia question. And that was one of our Aflac trivia questions. We actually posed 2 today. Last true freshman to start the season opener at quarterback for Georgia. I gave away that answer inadvertently at the top of the telecast. Johnny Roche going on to coach the Oakland Raiders after completing 4 brilliant years as quarterback here at Georgia. The other question that we asked was the last Georgia coach to beat Tennessee. And we'll reveal that answer in a moment. Gary stopped by Deion Grant. It was 2nd down and inches, so Landis Gary did pick up the first down. Vince Dooley, the correct answer. Now the athletic director, Ray Goff, did not have a win over in Tennessee during his time as the successor to Vince Dooley.
I had a nice visit with Vince Dooley yesterday. Stopped by the office to say hello to Vince and had a good visit. He's certainly proud of the Georgia football team and the way it's responded. And I know he was excited about today's game and obviously can't be real happy right now with the score, but Georgia's well on their way to regrouping their football program and getting it back to national prominence, regardless of the outcome of today's game.
Jim Donnan says that's so important this year. They don't want last season's 10-2 record to be viewed as a fluke. They don't want Georgia to be one of those teams that's thought of as kind of an up-and-down yo-yo team that every now and then throws in a good season. They want to consistently be at the top of college football as they were under Coach Dooley for so many years. Carter's throw is incomplete along the near sideline, and there is a flag on the play. He was looking for Thad Parker right in front of the Georgia sideline.
John, I can't say enough about the Tennessee defense. They are in their 8-man front at times. They pressure the quarterback. They bring the outside linebackers, Raynoch Thompson. They just have a lot of pressure going on Quincy Carter. And Carter looks like a totally different player. John Chavis down here at the end of the booth. John, and they had Quincy Carter looks like a different player to me today because of that pressure and because that defensive line of Tennessee is wearing them out up front. They're wearing them down.
Georgia had a lineman downfield. They turned down the penalty. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Quincy Carter, a 21-year-old true freshman. Out of high school, he signed a letter of intent to go to Georgia Tech. But then he was drafted in the 2nd round by the Chicago Cubs. He received a $425,000 signing bonus and elected to play professional baseball. And that's what he has done the last 3 summers. He pitches to Arnott. And Robert Arnott is close to another first down. Out across the 36-yard line. Deion Grant upended Arnott. Arnott's bounced back and forth between offense and defense throughout his career. Played linebacker and safety at the end of last season. Moved back to running back this preseason.
Well executed option play out of the shotgun by Quincy Carter. Came down the line of scrimmage. Option the defensive end. Pitched the ball off to Arnott. Positive gain for Georgia.
They're trying to get the running game going. Arnott had 90 of those yards you saw in the season opener, a rout against Kent. A catch made by Tony Small. Steve Johnson gave him a pop after Small made the catch for a first down. And Georgia is starting to move the chains with some consistency for the first time today. That's a 13-yard gain.
Well, and Darwin Walker broke through the offensive line at Georgia, and did he deck Quincy Carter. Number 17, the quarterback, is going to get decked by 58, Darwin Walker. Welcome to being the starting quarterback in the SEC. That's a hit.
That might make him long for the baseball diamonds of Rockford, Illinois.
No, this guy's a quarterback. He's the real deal.
He has struggled to hit during his 3 minor league seasons at .248 this year, which was his best season with the bat. That could be grounding. No flag this time. Carter was in the grasp of Chris Ramseur, and he threw it away. And Philip Fulmer is irate. He has his hat off. He's out of the field and barking at the officials. And I think this time he has a beef.
No question about it. Philip has every right to be upset. There is no receiver in the area that he's trying to dump this ball to. This is a clear throwaway where the other one wasn't a clear throwaway.
Maybe that's why they didn't get the call this time.
Well, I think they just missed the call. It happens. The game moves fast. There's a lot of people moving around. But certainly Tennessee had a complaint on that particular play.
From midfield, 2nd and 10. Tennessee leads by 19. 3-step drop and a catch made by Champ Bailey. Andre Lott, a reserve cornerback, had the coverage. First catch of the day for Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey hasn't done a whole lot today like he did last week, but it's a little inside slant route. He just breaks it off inside. Fabulous hand-eye coordination. Once again, Quincy Carter takes a big hit by that Tennessee defensive line. What's happening is Tennessee is covering the 3 interior linemen, the center and the 2 guards, with down linemen, and then blitzing linebackers inside, and the Georgia offensive line can't quite pick it up.
Just inches short of the first down. We mentioned last week, Champ Bailey last week had 7 catches against LSU for 114 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 rushes for 15 yards. He played 95 plays in the game last week at LSU, 33 of them on offense. 3rd down and inches, and Carter keeps and picks up the first down across the 40.
Jim Donnan just trying to figure out, hey boys, how can we get this the chains moving? How can we get the ball going down the field? He loves offense. He serves as his own offensive coordinator, calls all the plays.
And how happy was he to get the surprise phone call from Quincy Carter to find out that Carter wanted to come back and play football in addition to his baseball exploits. Here comes the pressure, and it's fortunate for Georgia that the pass was incomplete. Al Wilson put the heat on Carter, and he took another hit, did Carter. And they were fortunate that Arnott had the ball sail by, because that was going to be stuffed too.
Well, number 27 on the inside blitz. He's a 4-5 kind of guy coming up the middle, untouched. You can't let linebackers in a 4-3 defense. He plays right in the middle. You can find that guy. But they're getting the linemen covered, and consequently they're not being able to bump off and pick Al Wilson up, and he's putting tremendous pressure on Quincy Carter.
2nd down and 10. 22-3 Tennessee. 3:16 remaining in the 3rd. Out of the shotgun. Here comes the heat again. He throws on the run, and it is incomplete. Thrown into traffic. Carter can't even finish his drop. He barely gets away from center, and the heat is on. This Georgia offensive line is having a terrible time of it.
Well, you have to figure, too, when you haven't had your center all week long, you got Miles Lucky playing with a huge knee brace on his leg. He's just playing on heart, trying to get the ball back to center, but the Georgia line just can't get him blocked. The speed of the Tennessee defenders and the intensity of the blitz is what's disrupting the Georgia offense.
Eric Westmoreland came through completely untouched, and Derek Evans also made a big play, almost had the interception in front of Champ Bailey. Those numbers are sharp contrast to last week. His brilliant performance against LSU, but he's been fighting for his life today. Champ Bailey incomplete. He took a big pop from Dwayne Goodrich just when it looked like Carter's scramble was going to set up a big play. Bailey took a pop.
Well, that's a great play by Dwayne Goodrich. You got to give him credit. Champ Bailey had the ball in his hands. He just couldn't come down with it. Bailey runs across the field, number 4. The quarterback scrambles, makes a great play. Bailey, tremendous leap by him, but what a hit by number 23, Dwayne Goodrich. And once again, Carter just running for his life, trying to keep from getting beat up out there.
4th and 10. It looks like Georgia is going to go for it, and they burned a timeout. Play clock was down to 10, and they were still in the huddle, confused.
Years against Oklahoma, 360 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. I'd say that's a Heisman Trophy day.
I bet he's on his way to the State Fair tonight. For more information on the Heisman Watch, log on to cbs.sportsline.com.
Cotton candy.
Back live in Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia. Big play upcoming here for the Georgia offense. 4th and 10 at the Tennessee 40. They're down by 19 with time starting to wind down. Quincy Carter hasn't faced anything like this so far in his college career.
No question about it, Sean, but he's growing up as a quarterback today. He's shown tremendous toughness, and he hasn't been able to get his feet set a lot of times and perform like he did a week ago, but he's going to be a veteran. When this game is over, he will have earned his stripe because Tennessee is bringing the heat, and they're going to bring it again.
They hand it off to Champ Bailey. He can throw it. They have it well covered, and it is intercepted. Deion Grant running it back. And he runs out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Well, Philip Fulmer and his Volunteers were not fooled by that play. Champ Bailey looking to throw it, and he threw into double coverage looking for Tony Small, and Deion Grant intercepted.
Well, give the Tennessee defense credit. They have taken everything that Georgia's had today and just turned it right on Georgia, and in this particular play, the ball just shouldn't have been thrown. It was double covered all the way. They're trying to get the ball to Champ Bailey on a little reverse pass. He comes out, but look at the coverage downfield. Downfield, double coverage on the wide receiver. No hope of getting the ball in there.
Martin rolls out and throws a rare completion to a tight end. Yeah, that's John Finlayson. But just his 2nd career catch.
Well, you talk about good coverage. Tennessee has him bracketed. Again, Deion Grant, the safety, coming over to help the corner. Tremendous safety play. Look at the coaches. Jim Donnan knows nothing's gone right today. Philip Fulmer knows he's got control of the game.
2nd down and 5 after the catch by the redshirt freshman Finlayson is from Selmer, Tennessee. Stevens has a 1st down out to the 39-yard line. Richard Seymour made the stop.
Sean, I know you have. I've been impressed with Travis Stevens.
Very much so.
He hammers him. He gets after it. He likes to attack it. He goes downhill. In coaching, you always say, find me a back that goes downhill at him, that attacks the defense. Travis Stevens, 25, he's getting it done today doing that. And again, there's some holes to run in because of that offensive line is punching him out. But still, he goes after it good.
He and Henry are certainly running backs who will be playing regularly at many other programs around the country. But at Tennessee, they're both stuck behind Jamal Lewis. Not for this season, but Lewis out the year of the knee injury. Home run ball. Incomplete. Good coverage by Glenn Ford on Peerless Price. And if anything, it was nearly offensive pass interference as Ford had the good position and Price bumped him a little bit from behind. Tomorrow, doubleheader NFL action here on CBS. The 1 o'clock games, Kansas City, New England, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Baltimore, Buffalo, and Indianapolis. Then at 4:15, Denver and Seattle, the featured game with the Jets taking on St. Louis, San Diego, and Oakland. It all starts with the NFL Today, noon Eastern time, presented by Southwest Airlines. I know folks up in my part of the country are really looking forward to that Kansas City, New England game. Peerless Price drags the would-be tackler Jeff Harris close to a first down out of the 49-yard line. He might have picked up the first down with that rodeo routine.
Well, it was a nice checkoff by T. Martin. He audibles to this play. He just ran a little quick hitch. He gives the ball to an outstanding athlete, Peerless Price, strong, big physical receiver. Reminds you of the receivers Tennessee has historically had.
Guys like Alvin Harper and Carl Pickens, among others. And bringing on the chains. Price did pick up the first down. And the Volunteers are winding down this third quarter clock. 1:23 remaining. That's Todd Donnan on the right of your screen, the son of Coach Jim Donnan. Todd's a graduate assistant, works with the quarterbacks. He was a fine quarterback at Marshall, played for his dad back in the early 90s. Todd just finished his MBA work here at the University of Georgia. Travis Stevens. All the way down to the 28-yard line. And he, all day long, has refused to go down without a big fight.
But Travis Stevens has been waiting on the bench. He's wanted his opportunity, and was playing behind Jamal Lewis, and all of a sudden, he gets his time to shine. And I've seen it so many times, year in and year out. Guys who sit on the bench, all of a sudden they get their chance and they turn it on and take advantage. He's taking advantage of his opportunity today. He's been impressive.
To the tune of 104 yards rushing on 16 carries. First and 10, Tennessee, with under a minute remaining in the third quarter. They're the Georgia 28 after that pickup of 23. Travis Henry outruns Orontis Grant, and he's banged out of bounds. Close to another first down. Let's get an update on the Florida State-Miami game from Tim Brando.
Sean, it's power football that's aiding Tennessee, and Bobby Bowden's going to turn to the same thing inside the 5 as the Seminoles begin to take control. William McCray goes in from 3 yards out. Peter Warrick, by the way, 7 catches, 190 yards, and a touchdown today.
The Seminoles seemingly on their way to victory there. And Tennessee in command of this one at the moment. With a half minute left in the third quarter. On the move again. Henry. Tackled by Rich Robich and Glenn Ford. How about Robich? When we talked to Joe Kynes yesterday, the defensive coordinator, says Rich thinks it's 1950.
Plus, Kenning, a stagehand hits the circuit.
Really should do it, man.
Monday.
22-3, Tennessee. Hopefully they'll be home in time tonight for the lineup on CBS. You can spend a day at the races with tomorrow's sports section. It's a sure bet on early edition. Then Sammo infiltrates a gang of high-tech crooks on martial law. That word was infiltrates. And Chuck Norris stars in Walker, Texas Ranger. America's Night of Heroes tonight on CBS. pass caught by Champ Bailey, but for no gain. He went to the ground to catch the aerial from Quincy Carter. And Carter has been under siege all day.
Well, there's no question that Tennessee defensive line and linebackers have just really put the pressure on this freshman quarterback.
Now, if you were Jim Donnan, would you be inclined to tell your offense, hey, we need to get in and out of the huddle here a little more urgently?
I think Jim will probably start speeding it up here.
Carter throws again for Champ Bailey, this time a first down. Tackled by Dwayne Goodrich. That's out to the 31, a gain of 11.
Yeah.
12-yard gain on the play.
There are the numbers today for Champ Bailey. And there's his mother, Elaine. Another of the 3 Baileys who have played here at Georgia. Ronald graduated after last year, went to camp with the Cowboys, had a hamstring injury, and was let go by Dallas. Champ's here. Many think he might leave at the end of this his junior season and head for professional football. And Boss is a true freshman. There's an injured volunteer on the play. It was the man who made the tackle, Dwayne Goodrich. We were talking about Quincy Carter and how he came to Georgia. We mentioned he signed with Georgia Tech out of high school, but then went to play professional baseball. And he takes the shotgun snap. That has Tony Small, and Small has a seam. In the Tennessee territory at the 45-yard line. Derek Edmonds made the tackle, a 23-yard gain for the senior from Jacksonville, who was a wing T quarterback in high school.
Georgia did a nice job. They spread the field, got their quarterback Quincy Carter in the shotgun, and just ran an underneath little slip screen to Small. He was wide open inside and just took it right up the middle of the defense.
At the 45-yard line. 6 catches today for 125 for Small. Here comes Carter on the run. Quincy Carter out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Quincy Carter told us when we chatted with him yesterday, I always wanted to go to Georgia, but coming out of high school, when it's time to make the decision, it was right at the time of the coaching change, and I didn't know Jim Donnan. I didn't know what the program would be like, so I decided to sign with Georgia Tech. Then baseball came, and I went there, but when I knew I wanted to come back to football, I was more interested in Georgia because I always wanted to go there, and because Mike Bobo was graduating. He had been the starting quarterback, and Georgia Tech had Joe Hamilton coming back.
Yeah, he saw an opportunity to play faster at Georgia than at Georgia Tech, and that's usually why guys decide to go to school.
Carter throws. Champ Bailey's open, and the pass is incomplete. He was belted out of bounds by Deion Grant. And Jim Donnan said that in his recruiting class year, Quincy Carter, in his opinion, was right there with Tim Couch as the 2 best quarterbacks. And Quincy made the decision to come back. He could not participate in this year's spring practice a couple of months ago here at Georgia because he did have that commitment to Georgia Tech. That commitment had to expire of 2 years, but he did watch spring practice.
Well, Jim said he did a great job melting in with the rest of the players. He moved into the dorm. He really just kind of got accepted by everybody. He's a pro athlete. He could have lived off campus, I'm sure, in a condominium, an apartment, but he went into the dorm and got with his teammates, and that's important.
Finds a seam over the middle again. Small has a first down inside the Tennessee 15. Tony was tackled by Deion Grant. 20 yards on the completion. Quincy Carter to Tony Small.
And Tony Small lines up in the slot. He's the inside receiver. He's going to run down the field, come to the inside. There's a wide open seam in the Tennessee defense. And Quincy Carter, for one of the only times today, had time to get his feet set, planted, and rip the ball down the field.
By far the most impressive drive for Georgia. And just as we say that, it looked like Matt Stinchcomb, the tackle, came out of his stance. Whistles were blowing, but the players didn't hear them, and Carter was dumped, and the crowd wanted a flag on Tennessee. It looked like Quincy was saying to the referee, Steve Shaw, hey, I've taken enough hits today without that one. After the whistle.
Well, Matt Stinchcomb, 79, he's the one that jumps early, and you don't expect that from a senior like like Matt. He just got a little anxious to get out there on the pass protection. Looked like they were going to throw a little screen again, another little slip screen inside.
Stenstrom is our NASDAQ Scholar Athlete of the game. NASDAQ's commitment to the future of our country is demonstrated today by the donation of $1,000 to Georgia's General Scholarship Fund. Matt, in addition to being a great football player, is going to be a first-round pick in the next draft. Is a 3.94 GPA. Carter over the middle, too long. Looking for Jermaine Wiggins, the tight end who was running free, but the pass was deep, and it'll be second down and 15 from the 20-yard line.
Georgia has no backs in the backfield. They just have Quincy Carter back there. They're trying to spread the Tennessee defense. Tennessee comes with the blitz anyway. They have an unblocked man from the outside, and all Carter needs to do is just put a little more air under that ball, and he'll learn how to do that. He'll eventually, then next time he throws that pass, he'll hit it.
9:55 remaining. That last Tennessee possession that didn't result in points did consume 5 minutes and 37 seconds over 12 plays. Carter forced to pitch it. Good one-handed catch by Arnott. He cuts it back inside. And he gets hammered at the 12 by Raynoch Thompson.
Almost looked like, Sean, if he kept the ball outside, there was more yardage there. Quincy Carter runs the option to perfection. He comes right down the line of scrimmage, attacks the end, and he deals the ball off very nicely before he takes a hit, pitches it, and right there, the cutback, he actually, I thought, should have kept the ball outside. There was a lot more room out there. You can see the velocity of that hit that the quarterback has to take and that Arnott takes.
Timeout, Georgia. And they're burning timeouts. Just one remaining now for the Bulldogs.
On CBS, he's sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market, Wolverine Boots and Shoes, Nike, and by Xerox.
Third down for Georgia. At the 13 of Tennessee, the Dogs desperately in need of a touchdown with 9.5 minutes remaining. Carter has time, throws much too high, across the middle looking for Small. And a field goal doesn't really do much good. It gets you within 16, 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions, but you would think they'd have a better chance of any kind of a comeback if they get a touchdown.
Yeah, I think they're in 4-down territory here, and although I think that Jim's going to go for this and try to somehow get a touchdown or a first down. He can still get a first down inside the 5-yard line. Champ Bailey wanting the ball again, but he's covered. Dwayne Goodrich all over him, number 23. He just has him.
Virtual must-convert situation here for Georgia on 4th down and 7. Carter has time. A soft rush this time. He lofts it toward Champ Bailey. Incomplete. Bailey was open that time, but it was an errant throw as Carter drifted to his left.
Champ Bailey trying to work to get open in the end zone. Quincy Carter flushed a little bit early from the pocket, and understandably so with all the pressure that he's had today. But Champ Bailey doing a good job of separating from the defensive back. He's open in the corner. Right here, Carter flushes out and actually runs into Corey Terry, number 22, and that makes the throw more difficult.
Quincy Carter today, 14 out of 34. 8 touchdowns, 8 quarters rather, without allowing a touchdown for this impressive Tennessee defense. Travis Stevens was tackled by Adrian Hollingshed. They made a conscious decision, it seemed, the Tennessee coaches on defense, going for speed over size, particularly the linebacker position. And that speed has been in evidence all day today against the Georgia offense.
No question about it. They took a page probably out of Florida, Florida State. Teams that Nebraska, teams that have really gone to speed. Tennessee went to speed. Those 3 inside linebackers, there's not one of them 220. You know, they're 210, 215 pounds, but they can motor and they can run you down.
Travis Stevens bounces it outside. He's pulled down by Orontis Grant. Down on the sidelines, Mike Mayock.
Sean, sometimes you get a different perspective on the field, but I couldn't agree with you more about the Tennessee defense. It's the fastest front seven I think I've seen this side of Florida, and I think they've done a great job of stressing the center position on either side of the ball. You know, the other obvious thing with Tennessee's offense, Mike Barry, their offensive line coach, told me before the game he thought they could wear their defense down by the third quarter, and that's exactly what happened. Tennessee had 56 rushing yards in the first half and then 116 in the third quarter. So I think it's team speed on defense and that big offensive line taking over in the second half.
Yeah, I agree, Mike, 100%. I think they've worn them down. And Georgia plays 12 defensive linemen.
On 3rd and 8, Martin keeps and picks up another first down.
Well, that was a big play right there, Sean. You know, Georgia holds them there. They get the ball back, maybe get into 2-minute offense, get a chance to get back on the board, and who knows what's going to happen. But that was a big scramble by T. Martin. And Tennessee has done what they wanted to do. They have had balance in their offense. They've been able to run it, and they've thrown it pretty effectively.
Well, it's hard to get a read on this Tennessee team. We mentioned they were an underdog coming into today's game. The trendy pick seemed to be Georgia. They were the team coming in off that impressive win, albeit by a point at LSU. It was on the road in a hostile place. That really earned them some believers. But Tennessee has the win over Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. They have the win against Florida. Out of conference against Houston. The struggle against Auburn. The victory here today, and yet you don't get the sense that people fully believe that this is a top 5 football team. I think they're earning some believers today.
Yeah, probably because they're not very impressive offensively. You know, they're a defensive team and a great kicking team.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of people, that doesn't catch their fancy, you know, but because they're not going to put up a whole lot of points. Not yet till T. Martin develops. Remember, he's a first-year quarterback, even though he's not a freshman. He's still not really experienced, so he's growing.
6.5 minutes left. Stevens gang tackle. The ball came out after the whistle. Brandon Miller put the primary pop on Travis Stevens. Let's find out how the Orangemen are doing today from Tim Brando.
Speaking of Syracuse, as Sean McDonough was, how about this Jekyll and Hyde team? Off the play fake with a reverse, Donovan McNabb goes 56 yards to Maurice Jackson against winless Cincinnati. Next Saturday, many will see Syracuse and Boston College on CBS. Now let's go back to a proud alum.
That's right. My beloved Orangemen. Cincinnati, the team was in a bowl game last year. Admittedly, they bought their way into a bowl game in Boise by promising a few basketball games, but they still were a bowl team last year. And they've gone from a great year to just an awful year. Martin keeps around end. He didn't want to go out of bounds, but he did to stop the clock at the 35-yard line. 5:34 remaining. Kirby Smart chased him out. Next Saturday, points leader Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Randy LaJoie, and Adam Petty are among those expected to slug it out at the CarQuest Auto Parts 250. That's next Saturday at 12:30 Eastern Time. That's interesting wording. Slug it out. Let's hope they don't. Let's hope they all drive safely in their own space. Sometimes they slug it out outside the vehicles. They get a little angry about something that happened on the track, and the next thing you know, there's some fisticuffs. Of course, we have that in Boston, too.
On a regular basis.
On the highways and byways. Champ Bailey running back the punt from David Leverton. He has room along the far sideline. And Leverton helped push Bailey out of bounds. 51 yards on the kick and 19 on the return. 5:18 remaining. Georgia back on offense at its own 34-yard line, down by 19. When we return to Athens, Georgia, with more NASDAQ college football.
A world of risk and uncertainty, where the roads can take you to success or prosperity, or sometimes to no place at all. This is the financial world. For decades, banks and investment firms of mountainous size have ruled the land. Yet high above the horizon, another mountain has risen. A mountain called First Union. With 16 million customers, the nation's 8th largest brokerage and 6th largest bank. for a new perspective of the financial world. Come to the mountain called First Union. Or if you prefer, the mountain will come to you.
The CBS star of college football today is sponsored by First Union.
Tim Brando and Craig James here in New York. Today's standout performance was turned in by Cedric Irvin of Michigan State.
You kept thinking it was you, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Cedric Irvin, the second overtime, first play from it, takes it in 25 yards out. Guy says he's not real fast. Doesn't need to be. Great vision and the ability to cut back where there's an opening. He did it. A huge win for his team.
Yeah, coming from behind to win it in double OT. Now let's take you back to the game.
Now, you gentlemen, back here, Georgia came in on a roll dating back to last year. 15 out of 17 in the win column for Coach Donnan. They're down by 19 as they get it back. Quincy Carter throws it up for grabs. They're trying to set up a screen to Orlandis Gary. And once again, Carter hit the deck, this time in the arms of Jeff Coleman. Time now for our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. For complete college football coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com. Tennessee, who needs Jamal Lewis? 183 yards of rushing today.
Well, you got to be impressed with that offensive line over there with Mike Berry right there. They're talking about what they got done, and they got it done today. And certainly Travis Stevens, he came to the front, and all of a sudden now they found another tailback. But this defense on the field, this defense has put relentless pressure on the Georgia offense.
And on the receiver, Tony Small, as they try to set up another screen, and Eric Westmoreland batted it down. Here's Tim.
Sean, Bobby Newcomb trying to bring Nebraska back. They trailed by as much as 28-7. But watch this pass. Cedric Curry will intercept it to seal the deal. Nebraska's 19-game win streak is snapped. You'll recall that loss to Texas in the Big 12 title game. Dante Hall and Jamar Toombs each over 100 yards rushing. A shocker that certainly changes the landscape of college football.
Indeed it does. Not that shocking to you. You were the only one I heard today say, that's going to be a very tough ball game for Nebraska.
Yeah, I think Nebraska went into that game hurt. And when both your quarterbacks are banged up, you can't play the same kind of way. And you know, hey, there's so much football left. Everybody wants to choose the Fiesta Bowl participants now, you know. Right. But there are so many big games and weeks ahead of us. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? UCLA tonight against Arizona. Be a tough match. Kansas State at Colorado. Everybody says Kansas State's not for real. They've played a soft schedule. I think they're for real. I think they're big time.
Well, Tennessee's going to move up to at least number 3. And who knows, if UCLA loses, they could move up to number 2. They probably would. And as you said earlier, the schedule seems to get a little easier for Tennessee beyond here. They've had some very tough games already with Florida and Syracuse and Auburn and Georgia. To say it's a mass exodus from Sanford Stadium would be an understatement, as that picture tells you. Here's what they've done so far. They have next week off, and then Alabama at home, the game many of you will see here on CBS. They're at South Carolina. That should be an easy win. They go out of conference for Alabama Birmingham. Arkansas much improved, but that's a home game. Kentucky is a home game. Then at Vanderbilt, they're going to be favored considerably in every one of those games.
Every one of those games to run the table. But hey, you know, whoever wins Kansas State, Colorado, and UCLA, Arizona tonight, those teams have good chances too, you know. So there's a lot left. I've just been in it long enough to know enough games and enough years that, hey, who knows what's going to happen.
Tonight on CBS, it's martial law. If you haven't seen this program, you really must see it to believe it. Sammo Hung is a superstar of the martial arts. He's kicking the fun back into Saturday nights, and we're still looking for our guest shot because the NFL guys had their guest shot. So we're looking for Sammo to invite us on a martial law. You think it's going to happen?
I think Sammo will do it. I really do. I think he's a college football fan. He loves college football.
I'll tell you what, he'd find a way to get a couple of tough yards in traffic. Martin off the fake, throws to Bryson. And he's out across midfield. Well, it'll be interesting to watch the last few minutes of this game, Coach, because we had the controversy last year. Did Tennessee run up the score late in the game in Knoxville? It's a little too early to say they're running it up now, but they are still throwing and advancing the ball down the field with Georgia seemingly easily defeated. And they have just one timeout left. We think back to last year when Jim Donnan at the end of the ball game was screaming at Fulmer. You heard him say, read his lips there to see him say, "Hey, Fulmer." And they had a very quick handshake, but Jim Donnan told them during that handshake that he did not appreciate what he felt was an attempt to run up the score. Philip Fulmer's response was that Georgia was still blitzing, so we're going to keep throwing. Some said it was an attempt to build Peyton Manning's Heisman Trophy stats.
You know, I just think things happen in football games. You know, I think the emotions run so high, and I'm sure that after the game, 2 weeks after that, neither one of them think about it. Now, and then you get ready for this game, and it comes back to the front, and of course, people talk about it and all that kind of thing. But once the game starts, I promise you, all that goes out the window. You're just trying, Jim Donnan, he's just trying to move the ball and figure out what happened to my offense. And Philip Fulmer, he's trying to stop them and win the game. You know? So
it looks like Georgia has to find a way to get the running game going. And if they're really going to be a top 10, top 15 team this year, well, they need to find some way to run the football.
Yeah, they're not real balanced right now, and they need to take some pressure off their freshman quarterback.
Travis Henry bowls his way to another first down. So the picture a lot brighter after this ball game for Tennessee in the SEC standings and in the Bowl Championship Series picture. Here's Mike Mayock.
You guys have been talking about that very picture. You know, it gets very interesting, Sean. You talked about them maybe moving up probably to number 3. UCLA has Arizona tonight. Nebraska's lost, but let's think about Kansas State right now. Kansas State not only has to play Colorado, but also Nebraska. So indeed, Tennessee will move up 1, if not 2 spots. And let's face it, Sean and Terry, even though it's way too early in the season to start talking about January 4th, Tennessee certainly at this point has control of their own destiny.
A favorable schedule.
And you have to wonder how much the game against Nebraska last year, when Tennessee was soundly defeated in the Orange Bowl, helped them prepare for this season and a run at the national championship. You know, they were in a championship game last year at the Orange Bowl. Nebraska wins the national championship, at least a share of it in that game. Tennessee wouldn't have had a shot at it, but still they were in a big game like that, and it carries a momentum into the next year.
On second down, Travis Henry gets close to the first down. We're down to a minute and a half left.
It's a big win for Tennessee, as you said, Sean. Their schedule is very advantageous the rest of the way, and they were physical in this game and came in as kind of an underdog, which you mentioned. You know, a lot of people thought, myself included, that, hey, if Quincy Carter can play like he did against LSU, they can beat this team, you know, but he didn't. He didn't have the time. And the Tennessee defense just put it to him today.
College Football Today postgame show is next. Of course, tomorrow it's the NFL Today, beginning at noon Eastern Time. And we want to send along our best wishes to our technical director, Jeff Ringel, who's worked with us for many years on college football. He's moving to join the big boys in the NFL Today studio next week. And he'll be leaving our crew. Philip Fulmer with the congratulatory kiss. And we wish Jeff Ringel well. We're going to miss him out here in college football, but we're happy. Terrific guy and a very, very talented television person. Well, the pictures on each sideline let you know without any question who won this ball game. And really a crushing defeat for Georgia from the standpoint. They were very confident. I think they felt this was the year they would end this losing streak against Tennessee. Instead, it's 8 straight losses for Georgia against Tennessee, most ever against an opponent in the conference for the University of Georgia. And Tennessee goes to 5-0 with some of the toughest games on their schedule already out of the way. Perhaps the toughest games out of the way. Here's Mike with the winning coach.
Coach, this is getting to be a habit. I'm enjoying every minute of it. We need to keep doing it.
Halftime we talked.